Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined today by Harry Trades, who just finished a 3-hour and 27-minute live stream over on the Harry Trades channel, doing gallery reviews for his members. Harry had 3 minutes between that stream and this one, so he is fresh. Harry, did you even stand up?
I did, yeah. I picked up the cat because the cat was wanting attention, and
Okay.
did a couple of lunges. I'm joking, I didn't. I just walked around my kitchen for literally 3 minutes, and then back in the room.
As I like to say, every step counts, and so the 17 you took, we'll add to that.
I don't feel bad not doing any steps this morning because I did get my 10K in yesterday, like really early, and I'm bare bones today.
Wow.
Yeah, really bare bones. I did. Why am I getting ads? I did 10.4K yesterday, minimum. That's without having my phone in my hand.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm really low today. So this is like, after this, I think it's step time.
It's step time. All right. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks everyone for coming in. So we were going to do this yesterday, fully planning on not having Harry stream for 3.5 hours and then do another stream, but my internet died and I couldn't do anything. And so Harry was flexible enough to come today. So Harry, first off, thank you for that. I did notice that there were some people in the live chat yesterday whose comments are gone now. I don't know why YouTube does that, but because of that, Anion, Arthur, and Sorare Strats on the podium. So congratulations to you three. Sorare Strats says, I want to progress to be Pranksy. That's not too much to ask, is it? So the funny thing about Pranksy is he didn't really progress to where he was, where he is. Technically, he started with rares, I think, but it was very early on where he's like, this isn't enough for me. I need super rares and uniques. And so it wasn't so much like a gradual progression for Pranksy. It was just like, I'm going to buy everything. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. Arthur said, I'm looking forward to this. I've been thinking about progression in terms of in-season in limited alone is having multiple teams in champ progression from one team in each region. We'll get to that. Don't you worry. Scosmo, what's up? Win in-season cash or log out. That's basically it. Mikey Baston, what's up? Tom said, just spent 3 hours watching Harry review galleries. Evidently wasn't enough, as I'm here now as well. Work this afternoon really was a write-off. I mean, it is what it is. SR Monkey, what's up? Alex, what else do you want me to watch while making food? I appreciate that. Rob C, Ricky, Sora Burrow, Sora Malta. Major NFT. There we go. Bruzel, Ahmed. Ooh. Mediator or Mateator? Which one do you want?
I'm going Mateator, but that's how my brain doesn't work normal.
All right. Scosmo said, progression is finding a way to get out of super rare and into limited. Harry, what did super rare used to mean? I mean, super rare. What did progression used to mean for you?
Progression for me early on, and like the goals of the game and what felt like, I don't know if it was being successful, but it was definitely being portrayed as like success was having the more scarce cards. Like it was having the cards that have a different color and have less of a serial number, right? Like it was like a 1 of 10 or a, whatever, compared to the rares, because when we joined there was no limited. So for me it was quickly realizing that I want to play against less players, and the route to doing that was obviously having a higher scarcity card or lower scarcity, higher scarcity. Yeah. But
I mix that up all the time.
Yeah, like they kind of mean the same thing in some ways as well. But no, I don't know. It definitely has changed because there was never really a vertical progression, was there? It was always a horizontal progression, realistically, right?
I think there was definitely a time when I was on the platform where progression was vertical. Like,
right.
I think the issue is just that Sorare kind of presented it as something that could happen much faster than it really could. And so when I joined, like limiteds didn't exist. Rare Pro did. Yeah. And so like I bought super rares to play Rare Pro. And for those of you who have joined Sorare and are watching this since then, Rare Pro was a rare competition that allowed you to play 2 super rares. And the super rares had a 20% bonus because it was like a scarcity bonus. And so you could play up to 2 of them. So you'd have 3 rares and 2 super rares ideally. You could play 4 rares and 1 super. You could play 5 rares actually. But the point was, like, for me, when I remember when I bought my first super rare, it was never with the plan to play the super rare division. Like, that just seemed so far in the future that I just was, when rare goalies were going for $700, the idea of buying a super rare goalie wasn't going to happen. But it did allow me to like buy super rares, play them in Rare Pro to allow me to like win better rares. And eventually I did buy enough super rares to play. Like, I eventually got the goalie. I think it might have even been Nishikawa, now that surely he wasn't my first one.
He would have been your threshold keeper, maybe.
But he was also that. Sure. But there was a time there where it felt like that was the progression. And maybe I never got into the limited to rare to super rare progression because when there were no limiteds when I started. So that I didn't need to go from limited to rare. But there was clearly a horizontal progression then as well. Like, if you just played All-Star, and most of us when we came in like played All-Star, and that was, oh, maybe I'll play Challenger, or I'll play Champ, or I'll play Champ America, or like whatever. You went out, and because we only had 1 scarcity and 1 entry per, like at some point you ran out of places you could play. Mm-hmm. And I actually don't think I ever got to that point where I was like, I had too many cards now. And maybe limited came at that point where I was like, oh, I'll just buy limiteds.
Right.
New gameplay. And I don't know if it's because we have so many more opportunities to play within a scarcity now, or the fact that super rares are just like going from rare to super, or even limited to rare. Like, there was a time where, like I said, you kind of like ran out of competitions, and not to say you couldn't like make your teams better, but like if you wanted to compete more, you had to go up from rare to super rare or limited to rare. And now with multi-entry, like, there's just so many competitions you can enter that it makes more sense to go horizontally than vertically.
I'm just thinking now, yeah, if it wasn't for Rare Pro, I don't even think I would have even thought about wanting super rare cards. It wouldn't have come into my thinking. Like, I came onto the platform with I think 2 ETH roughly, and I bought rare cards. I didn't buy any. You couldn't even like find a super rare on the market. Like, they didn't exist. The first super rare I bought was an Alexis Sanchez from auction for like £150 roughly.
Wow.
It wasn't even that good then. It was like the only way I could get in, and I ended up playing Champ Rare Pro, I think, at the time, because I had a few decent. I had like a Lewandowski or whatever, and rare. And if it wasn't for the Rare Pro comp, there's no way anyone was progressing anywhere above, because you could only go rare to super or super to unique. There was no limited, as we mentioned. So if there wasn't for that competition, I don't think none of us would have it. Well, me and you definitely wouldn't have super rares right now. I don't think they just wouldn't make any sense because, like you said, rares were expensive enough. Never mind the super rare equivalents. Now, the only way I could do it was in under 23, and then it was like, okay, well, the only way again, like to even go even deeper down to the rabbit hole, it was like, I need to do it in the summer. That was the only way I could do it. It was the only way I could afford a super rare under 23 keeper, which was Tanny. And that was my route into super rare under 23. If it wasn't for that, it would be no way on earth I would be playing super rare right now. Now, we don't have Rare Pro now. So you could argue that Sorare don't even want you to progress, right? I know they've brought in the whole like, oh, we're giving you essence and you can buy, you win the higher essence now, which no one wants it because progression that's never existed since Rare Pro. You know what I mean? Like, there's never been a competition where you did win. I think it was 2-4. You did win like the super rare with the rare, didn't you? And there was where you could win 2 scarcities of one in one comp. But yeah, I just don't think it's been a goal of Sorare have realized that it's easier for us to just stay in the scarcity we're playing because of multi-entry, because of especially Champ. Like, if you come on and go, okay, I want to play Champ, like, it's never ending, as we
Yeah.
know. Like, there's so many ways you can play through Bundesliga, Prem, then Champ itself, then Classic, then in season. Like, you've got, I think that's 24 lineups. I could be wrong, maybe 18 or something. Like, it's a lot of lineups, and it's a lot of players. That's a minimum 100 players there. Never mind subs, never mind extras. So, like, before you know it, you don't even. I honestly think that people that have started joining this game over the last 6 months, I don't even think they care about going higher scarcity wise. I don't think they care.
I completely agree with you. And I don't think that they need to build the game to force you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are going to be people who like play limited and then they see the prizes in rare and they're just like, oh, I'd like to compete for more. And like that just kind of generally happens, but expecting like everyone to do it surely isn't it. I was going to follow up on what you said about how the cap modes, some of them gave you like the scarcity up. I don't know if it was originally the cap modes. I think it was, but like there was a time where you would, the top prize in like a rare competition was super rares without the rare.
Ooh,
and the feedback was like, what am I going to do with this? Like, this is not a reward for me winning like a tier 3 super rare versus a star rare. And that's when Sorare is like, all right, we'll give you the rare also. Like they did that in MLB, I know for sure, because I won a competition and won a super rare and like, and you can't play scarcities down anyway. So like I literally was like, here's your reward. Please go buy 6 more super rares because baseball 7. So anyway, I was just looking back through my transactions. Runnerson was the first super rare goalie I bought.
Ooh, yeah.
When he was in
Who was
Turkey.
he playing for? Turkey, yeah.
Yeah. He was at
not Rittersport.
Antalyaspor. To be honest, it didn't even matter. He played, so I bought him. Like
that was the only way people like us were getting into Super Rare. It was just like, does he get 35? Like, does he play games of football?
Yeah.
As a goalie, anyway. Like, it was just borderline impossible. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it matters to Sorare anymore, which is fine. Like, it doesn't need to matter to them because they found a way with limiteds and, extrapolating through multi-entry. And I think it's only going to get, not worse, but I think it's only going to get magnified in the sense of like, eventually they're going to be allowing us to have 4s and 5s entry wise. I think like they have to, especially in Classic. We kind of know how that works. So like, it's just inflationary. Like, there's no way like we're just gonna have too many cards left in our gallery, basically, if we don't allow for more entries.
Or they just, well, yeah, they're gonna have to do that, but they're also gonna have to come up with some different reward plan because you can't just continually increase. Yeah, like it's just not there. Anion said we progressed from in season to Classic, and that's it. So what's actually that got me thinking is what we used to do, or at least the idea of what we used to do, was you play. I mean, it was all Classic anyway, but like you play, you win your rewards, you either keep them and that helps you, or you can sell them and that helps you buy new cards. And now it's like the money that you win doesn't necessarily go to potential like higher scarcity cards. It's just going to next season's in season. I like if you can budget that correctly.
Do you remember there was a graph once, Laird, that they put out, and it was like showing you the progression. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And it was like showing you the limited side, and then it was like the rare going up to the super, and then it was
that was like the first time where we were like, I think they're getting rid of Rare Pro because it was like a perfect snake. And then Rare Pro was like off to the side, and we were like, boy, that's weird. Oh,
yeah. I'd love to be able to get that up.
That would have. Sorare progression chart. Surely somebody.
It has to be in a what's the articles called? I can't even think of not Discord. What was a Medium? It has to be a Medium post
on
somewhere.
Medium?
On that. Yeah. It was when they introduced Cap 220. Daniel Cooper says that does ring a bell now.
I found one. I thought it was in here, but it's not. It's probably linked in here. Anyway, yeah, it could be. It could be. Although this is it. Yeah, this one's from February. Sorare Pro roadmap. Maybe it's in here. This is great listening. I know.
That rings a bell. Sorare Josh says, do you think they'll ever do a Rare Pro special? Surely they will, for old time's sake. No.
No.
What?
You can do Rare Pro right now if you want.
Yeah, but we don't get the scarcity bonus.
No, we don't. We don't. Sir Josh said the introduction, sorry, I'm very behind on the chat, of the higher scarcity essence in boxes is very interesting to me. It contradicts their reasoning for removing the kickoff comps. Now just don't know what Sorare define as progression. I have heard one person who was excited about that. One. And I've heard many people who literally want no part of it. And the pushback I heard was like, it's 0.1% that you could get it. Like, it's so low. But I think the more important thing is that it's the lowest percentage thing that you can win. Actually, I think one other is 0.1%. It's probably 10 essence now, which none of us will win ever again. But you would expect the best reward to have the hardest, that you would have the hardest chance to win the best reward. And that's the hardest chance one. Yeah, so it's like, they're just showing us like, oh, this is what we think you guys think is like the best prize. And it's literally the worst one for anyone who plays a single scarcity with no short-term plan to move up.
Do you think if they introduced that, like, as soon as Essence came out, are we in a similar position as far as like how people view it? Like, do you still think people would be like, why would I want to win that if I just play limit type of thing? Or do you think it's like more accepted at that point? Similarly, how Essence has been slashed, like we've said, if they introduced that at the start, you know, if you don't know about something, they've not taken it away at that point, right? That's the issue.
I think it would be one of those things that people didn't make a big deal about. And then after they've accumulated enough, they're just like, why do I have this worthless rare or super rare essence that like, oh, great, I play rare competitions exclusively, and now I can get a tier 5 super rare. Like, I don't know.
Does the fact that you can play down change it slightly? Not to say you're going to play a tier 5 with your tier 1 rares, obviously.
Well, I think that's the problem, is that you're surely going to get a worse card because it's the scarcity just happens that way. Mm-hmm. Josh said clear progression back in the day was buying a threshold team, then using the funds to buy more rares, then eventually super rares to play the rare pro modes. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it was. Like, I think the number of people who were grinding threshold and like withdrawing was much lower than everybody expected or everybody thinks, but it was just that. Yeah. And eventually they're just like buying up. But the problem is like, Sorare is basically buying you up, not you're not
right.
doing it. Scosmo said, buy rares, buy first couple super rares for rare pro, build out super rare depth, and use a rare goalie to progress to the super rare division. I forgot about that. They used to be able to play a super rare, or excuse me, a rare in the super rare division. Then get a super rare goalie in your first unique for the max bonus, then progress up to uniques. That was it. Mm-hmm. That was the
thinking back, you could play a rare, couldn't you, in super rare?
Yeah.
Could they ever introduce something like that again, Laird, or no? Or does that just mess with everything?
I don't think that makes super rare more attractive. Like, I don't think that's what's keeping people away from competing in the super rare division.
Yeah, it's the reward. It's like, right. yeah, it's the
everything else about super rare is bad.
Yeah, fair. That is fair enough. Yeah.
Daniel said, I feel like I've progressed a lot. Started in rare, then transitioned to limited, but I love my gallery now. There's lots of ways to progress. Depth, quality, scarcity are all progressing. I will say that the rare to limited, I don't even want to call it progression.
Yeah, because it's not. It's regression.
Literally the opposite, right? Regression. But like there was a time. I mean, the time is still now. But like, you always had to make that decision of, do you want to have really good players in limited or like okay players in rare? And I think people kind of moved back and forth. And I'm guessing like once you have the really good players, even in a lower scarcity, like it's really hard to go back.
Yeah. We saw that, didn't we? With so many people coming down from like one super threshold kind of was done. The amount of like very mediocre super rare cards that we probably still have in our galleries floating around, but a lot of people just completely shipped them off and just turned them into rares, right? That was a big thing at one point.
Ricoman said, if you listen to So Rare, super rare and unique is good because Pranksy is winning loads. Bob wants to make Essence sellable. I mean, I would imagine that there would be a gigantic marketplace for Essence. Like I would rather buy Essence than a tier 3, 4, and 5 card.
Good point. Yeah.
Here we go. Zora in the house. I disagree with possible progression through scarcities in the game. It's 100% budget related. People who moved down scarcities just didn't have the budget to purchase the best cards, grinding thresholds, but actually not being able to aim for the top spots. I mean,
I agree.
So what does this mean though? I disagree with possible progression through scarcities in game because there are things in the game that push you towards progression. Like why offer rare essence to people playing limited if that's not an in-game progression?
Yeah, that is an in-game progression. It's just very low probability, right?
Right. And it has to hit so many times.
There is no progression possible.
All right.
I mean, there is. It's just very low chance. Like, I know that's being very... Yeah, but like...
I think it's fine. Like, I think not having in-game progression from scarcity to scarcity is okay. Like, it's always really been buying your way to the next one. It wasn't winning your way to the next one. Like, that's why it's very different now with Classic and in-season, because you can theoretically win your way into, like if you... PSU fans, too, the perfect example. Somebody who doesn't buy any in-season cards wins them, and then he can either put in an in-season lineup or more classic. But like people can win in-season lineups, and they can't win rare lineups if they play limited.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the new, if we were to do that graphic again, the thing is, or the graphic is use limited classic cards to win in-season limited cards, to win cash, to win classic rare cards, to win like that would be, I'm not saying it's that possible, but that is it on paper, right? That's how you would extrapolate it if it was like a journey.
Yeah, would you even... So I'm glad you brought that up, because I think if you are a new user or looking to move up scarcities, down scarcities, I still don't know which one we're using, to go from limited to rare, rare to super rare, that you should not start in classic.
No, you shouldn't. Of course not.
Like, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
But it's absolutely harder to win.
Slower. So slow. Yeah. Really slow. I had something in my mind then, and it's gone. That was it. It was the whole, like, what would you prefer to play? The rare classic or in-season limited type of conundrum. And I think, I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue against the in-season stuff, really, isn't it? Even despite being a scarcity lower. But so the thing I was actually going to mention was, like, before, wanting to go up a scarcity was more because, like, the rewards were worth so much more.
Yeah.
Whereas now, the only reason you'd want to go up is because you're playing against less people. Like the whole Nashi thing, like that wasn't, not so much. I said that at the start, actually, in my opening line, in that, like, I wanted to play under 23 Super Rare because there was just less people playing. But it was more so because the rewards of those Super Rare under 23 cards were just way more expensive. Like, they were just more lucrative, way more expensive. Whereas now, yeah, obviously a rare Yamal is worth more than a limited Yamal. But it's not, the multiple isn't as crazy as it kind of used to be.
Sure.
Because we didn't have limited, so it was from rare to super, and that multiple was like going from, like, I don't know, a £200 rare to like £1,500 super rare type of thing, or even more, like, of the same player. I just, the only reason you'd move up these days is because you're playing against less players. But do people even care about that, Laird? Genuinely, I don't know if that's even a consideration anymore, for the most part.
Surely you think about it at the unique level, but I can't speak with any experience on that. So
I just think, like, yeah, I don't know.
So I guess the way I'm looking at it, like, you play in-season super rare,
right?
Do you and the in-season super rare rewards at the top, at least, like to win, are higher than rare. Rare is higher than limited. Like, we know from the top end, you can win more.
Yeah.
how often do you look at how many people are competing, like are in a competition?
It doesn't. Well, it's super. Obviously, you've only got the 3 divisions, but there's
Right.
always less players in D1. So like,
Mhm.
you've got to factor that in, as in like. But I don't care. But I'm only going to play D1 if I think my matchups are good that week. Like I avoided it this past weekend because it was just a crazy chow week. So I played 2 and 3, Div 2 and 3, and I've got my D1 for this weekend if I want to use it. So yeah, I'm not necessarily going, okay, I'm not. Oh, I think the better comparison is like D2 and D3, like Div 2, D3, because of course the money on offer in D2 is better than D3. I think it's like I think especially in Super A, it's like say £300 for D3 and like £600 for the top of D2. So it's like double if we're talking the best prize. But there is a lot more players in D2 compared to D3, and you probably argue there's probably better quality there than D3. So it's like, the contemplation there is, do you sort of bully the lesser good teams in that sense, quality wise, and play your potentially D1 D2 team into that D3 and win the 300, or this is a different kind of topic, I guess, but I don't know. I not so much I don't care, but I just know it's less than that I'd be playing in rare. That's kind of my thought process on the super rare stuff. I just wonder if people going from or playing limited go, I'm playing against 2,000 players this week in Child D1. Do I want to play against 300 in Child D1 rare? Like, what am I willing to do that? I don't know if people are willing to do what it takes to do it. Because the money is different, but from rare to limited, like it's not that different.
So it's funny you say that. I was just looking at the super rare. Here we go. So this is the super rare for champ, just because champ is like something that they want everybody to play. This is super rare champ. D3 first place is $500. 4 people win money.
Okay.
Top 50% get a box. So 500 to first. D2 is 1,300.
That's a jump.
And D1 is $5,000.
Yeah, this is the champ boys though, isn't it? This is where
D1 is 3,000 for rare. So 5,000, 3,000, and limited is 1,500.
Half. Yeah.
It's half, and you're surely playing against less than half the players.
Yeah. You're playing against way more players, right? And limited, you like to think?
That's what I mean. Yeah. It's like more than double. So like the prize from limited to rare, the prize is 2x.
Right.
But the entries are significantly more.
Probably 5x minimum.
Right. So like you said before, like, and that's always been the case. It was kind of, we just like the 2 factors of competing in scarcities up were the prizes were so much better and you were competing against a lot fewer people as you move up. Mm-hmm. Like, this shows that the prizes are better. I don't know, like, and this sounds like really bad, but like the difference from 3,000 to 5,000 doesn't feel like tremendous. And I think that because at one point, like when Mbappe was 20, like, I hate to like go back to
but Super Mbappe was a boy back in the day.
Like in the time when Mbappe was whatever his peak was, I won't even use these because
he was like 20K only for a nice.
So these are 23,000. That's funny that I have pounds on here. Anyway, so let's call it 30 grand. Okay. You could win. So this is March of 2022. So, I mean, they were like 100 grand. Like it was 5x, or excuse me, 3x, 3.5x.
Mm-hmm.
And like rare to super rare now is not that in terms of cash.
Right.
But so there's like more of an emphasis on the fact that you just have to beat fewer people. And divisions help that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like going up the scarcity is a division in itself in that sense. Like, stopping yourself from playing against more players that way. But that's the issue. Yeah. Like, not the issue. The multiples probably haven't changed if we're talking like card prices, like from a limited Mbappe now to a rare Mbappe. It might, let's just call it 3x. I don't know what it is, but let's just call it 3x. It's the same from the old rare to super rare. It's just the numbers were just so much bigger. Like the multiples are kind of still there. It's just like, 30 grand to 100 grand is a lot different than like £100 to £300, right? It's just all relative. But
well, like the reason to play super rare was to win a card worth $100,000.
Yeah, simple as. Yeah. There's no other want or like wish. Like that was it.
That was it. Congrats to Pranksy, who not only won the 10th this weekend, but also won an Mbappe super rare.
I saw that, yeah.
Sorare said, progression for me is moving away from just an Asia contender focus, so strengthening and challenger and ideally champ in the single league comps. And Sorare Malta, I like this one. Progression for me is now an annual cycle. I play K-League in season and limited rare, winning enough to fund the Prem limited in season and classic, and then winning enough to fund K-League in season and limited rare next year. Which I think is like, I think that makes perfect sense.
You spoke about this.
Yeah, with the move to in season, like you need to win enough to buy in season cards next year.
Like, your whole vertical stack thing. I think like basically what Sorare Malta's saying there, yeah, going K-League in rare and limited, maybe having the exact same lineup, let's say, and hoping you hit big on, whenever you hit big, like whenever you hit relatively big, and then funds, whatever else you want to do, wish-wise, prem-wise, whatever. I even though that is playing up scarcity, you're not doing it across the board. You're just doing it in like the one region you play, which is K-League contender.
Mm-hmm. So here's the crux of it. And this is a question that Harry and I have discussed with each other. But Josh says, I would prefer an in-season rare Mbappe than a super rare classic, utility-wise. And Mbappe is probably a poor example because those are not the level of cards that you and I were talking about. But it is like the prices of classic super rares for good players is very similar to their in-season rare prices. And I think my not like pushback, but my concerns about progression is I think 90% of people would choose the in-season rare. And the same way limited to rare and limited. I think most people would want your in-season. And maybe that's good for so rare because we got to buy those cards. But it doesn't feel like there's a clear incentive to move up, I guess is how I would like present it. That like, I don't need the game to progress me. Like I don't need to win the next scarcities, but I feel like I should at least be enticed to see what would happen if I was able to compete at the higher level. And that's what I feel like is missing.
My only pushback on the super rare to rare comparison is you only need 3 super rares for in-season super rare, right? So like that does help things. Like if it was the exact same as rare 4 and 1, then yeah, obviously I'm picking the in-season rare card over the classic super. But like I just recently bought a classic super rare Tadic for like £120 or whatever because Roxy's selling out. So it's like that is if I forward card, yeah, which is is in season is a mid, and like that card is really valuable to me despite being a classic card, even in season, because I can use 2 classics. If it was only 1, then fair enough. I do get the argument way more, but I think that one's a tough one, honestly. Like being able to only need 3 in season cards to play one lineup for super rare is somewhat enticing. I think. Yeah. I don't know if it is to just players who just play rare because they probably don't even care. I just don't think people care to even like think about that. I guarantee you, if you did a survey to most limited players, not that they need to know this, but I bet you they wouldn't even know that you only need 3 super rares for in season.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say. But I mean,
I don't think they care. Yeah, like, and that's fine. I just think like it's not. I don't know. It's just not pushed. Not that specifically needs to be pushed, but Sorare just don't push any of it.
what I thought you were going to say is that people who exclusively play limiteds have no this is not like, I'm not saying this is how they are, but I think there is a good group of people who only play limiteds and have absolutely no idea how much the rare equivalents of their cards cost.
Probably not, no.
Because like, why would you even why would you care?
Yeah, you don't care. You don't need to care. I get it, but yeah, I just don't think until Sorare somehow, and it's definitely not this Essence thing, come out with a, just not information, but just like, a reason maybe to just want to know about the higher scarcity. Like I just don't think it's ever been pushed outside of Rare Pro, because there was no limited Rare Pro, if that makes sense. Like
no limited Pro.
We cried out for that for years, didn't we? Really, because we were like, you've got it in Rare to Super. Why don't we have it in Limited to Rare? Why don't you bridge that gap? And it was like, no, Limited's its own beast, wasn't it? Remember that? It was like Limited's its own thing, and it is. But I also think like that was anti-progression in itself.
Fripp, I feel the same way. I miss Rare Pro every time I set lineups. The thing that the limited Pro thing was really interesting to me, because I think today the scarcities are more separate than ever. But when they decided not to do limited Pro, they were not as separate. And so it did feel like we all looked at Rare Pro as the progression. And the reason why I think they didn't is because we weren't winning super rares. Like, we were buying super rares to buy the best, to win the best rares.
Yeah.
And when that's the case, that's not really pushing people to progress. It's just it's pushing people to buy a couple super rares. And then ideally, I think it's well, now you have enough super rares, just enter the super rare division. We didn't have you didn't have to worry about relegation. You've come in dead last. It doesn't matter. But the lack of limited Pro was always weird to me, because it felt like it would push the demand for rares up a little bit, because people are going to want better rares to put in their lineups. And there were so many limited cards that they could reward. Like, if there's any scarcity where they have tons of leeway on rewards, it's limited. And limited Pro would have rewarded limited cards, and yet never got there. Yeah, like, even the unique division for a while allowed you to play 2 super rares.
Right.
Like, and even that,
supers, I think, yeah.
What's that?
They used to reward supers in unique.
And they did that too, yeah. Because they wouldn't reward the uniques. But like, every step you could play multiple scarcities except limited. And now limited is continues to be completely separate, just for completely different reasons.
Yeah, even though you can play down. Like, it's just weird, isn't it? Everything's gone downwards, hasn't it? It's all like downwards things that you can do with your cards. Like, I can play down my rare and limited, and there's no playing up anymore. Well, there's never been, right? Technically. Well, you could,
yeah.
You
like
play the rare.
You were playing down, but you were at least getting a bonus for it.
Right. And kickoff was what?
Yeah.
One lower scarcity, and then Do you think they even care though, Laird? As a company, does it matter? There was Common Pro.
There was Common Pro, yeah. Yeah, the limited Pro, like, to this day, I don't know why they didn't have it.
Yeah. Do you think that was a case of, like, at the time, no one at Sorare played Sorare, so like one of those situations where maybe it was like, well, if you don't play the game, it might be tough to like really gauge on like why that would be a thing. I don't know. I'm spitballing.
Yeah, it just felt like, from the super rare perspective, Rare Pro and then Threshold were like very clear reasons to buy super rares.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who just played limiteds, there was no reason to buy rares. And so the easy answer was like, well, if you play a rare in this limited comp, it gets 20%. It's like, oh, I'll buy some rares then. Mm-hmm. And it just never happened. And I mean, and maybe It never happened because they were like, we're going to get rid of Rare Pro anyway. And so like, let's not introduce Limited Pro because we're going to get rid of Rare Pro.
Right.
But I was going to say, like, there was a time when super rares were, I don't want to call them valuable, but they were valued because like they were cards that people who played rare wanted to get. They wanted to get super rares because they knew that there were competitions where having super rares would help them.
Yeah.
And now there's no reason for somebody to play rare that plays rares to even think about super rares. And limited, there's no reason to think about rares until you get stuck winning rare essence and you're like, all right, well, what the hell am I going to do with this?
And the worst thing about relegation and stuff now puts pressure on, like, if you did want to progress, even though no one's doing that, but let's say you are a rare player and you're quite happy with what's going on there, and you see super and you're like, okay, you know, what does it take to give it a go? Like like if you just buy not mediocre ones, but like unless you buy like objectively good cards, you ain't gonna do anything in that upper scarcity anyway. Where before, at least, there was threshold. There was the rare pro supers that were being bought weren't the best cards. They were like 20 to 25 AA guys that couldn't get a DA type of guys, because that would get you to 80 odd points with the super rare bonus. Not that doesn't like those type of cards aren't valuable anymore, but they were way more valuable back then. And now, like, unless you do have a good 5, like in super rare, you're gonna get relegated if you're not in Division 3. So it's just like, there's just no incentive, I don't think, to buy the majority of super rare cards.
Yeah. But I think that probably still applies from people who play limited and want to go to rare. Like, there are more rewards available in rare. Obviously, there are more players than there are in super rare. And yeah, I just don't see the enticement.
It's not a separate note, but on something I spoke about, I think, a lot today on stream, were like, it kind of made me realize that a lot of people were like not farming boxes, but having, not, and again, not quality over quantity or quantity over quality, sorry, but like it does feel like now with this new Essence update, on a bit of a side note, that we're back to having like stronger but less lineups type of thing. Where for like the last 2 months, not everyone, but a lot of people who were like, I'll buy like I've seen people buying like £12 rare lineups, and just farming things. And it's just like you said, Sorare don't want you to play that type of game. They want you to aim for the best cards, own the most expensive cards and stuff, and pay for the most expensive cards, because that's just how it works, right? But like, I definitely think there's been a shift in the last week or so already, that like mindset wise, I'm like, yeah, it's definitely less teams now and more quality, which is obvious, but you know what I mean?
Milk Rain said, no super rares are worth less, but I still feel a little extra bit of excitement when I win a super rare. So like, this is exactly how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like an absolute, I feel like a sucker every time I buy a super rare for a super rare lineup. But like, winning a super rare is fun.
I know.
Like, the odds that you've heard of this player are like 1%, but it's just like, it is fun. I will give that. And that's, I think that comes because of how long I've been on the platform, that there was a time that winning super rares was like actually awesome. And so now I'm just like, and so it's just in me. Like, I've said this to you, I've said it to Keith, that just like, I like playing super rares, even though I know they're worthless the moment I buy them. I probably am not going to win. And even if I win, it's probably going to be somebody I've never heard of. Back to the, Fripp said, I won an exciting Houston midfielder super rare yesterday. I can't wait until he recovers from his torn ACL.
Yeah, I've been there this season as well.
But from what you said, there were a lot of people that like replied to like the videos from last week. I think it was, forget when I talked about it. Maybe it was Friday's show. I don't know. But basically this essence change like really screwed my strategy up. And I think you're right and I like that you were like, they're not box farmers, but like that's exactly what they were, that people, it was right back to the threshold of like, what is the cheapest way that I can win something?
Yeah.
And in season boxes were so much better than classic. 50% of people entered them. And yeah, it was too easy to win. And Threshold was the same way. Even like, I mean, before the cat mode, it was literally the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it changed, not that it changed, but it allowed people to play Sorare again without thinking, how do I make the best lineup possible? And that runs like completely counter to how Sorare wants the game to be, particularly once they got rid of Threshold. Like they want everyone to make the best lineup they can. And usually that means the most expensive one that they can afford. But I don't think that's really a bad thing.
I mean, it's not in the business they're in. You know, they're in the business of selling cards for more money than not. You know, like we unfortunately we're at their sort of, I don't know what the word is, but like peril. Mercy. I don't know. Yeah, mercy. Like it's just, yeah. What can you do? You either don't play or you live under it.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say it like I don't think it's a bad thing that they want to build the game in a way that we want to score as many points as possible to beat the best scoring lineups. Like I think like fantasy sports is all about scoring more points than everybody else. And so once you build in a dynamic that says you don't really need to do that, you can just score half as many points and still be okay. Like that's just it's attractive to us because like we're getting something for not a lot, but it's also like runs counter to the spirit of fantasy football or any sport really.
Yeah, 100%.
Josh said on the flip side, winning 3 essence from a 5-star box ain't going to make you want to buy quality. So I don't disagree with that at all. Trying to see here. Division 1 in champ. Oops, sorry. I thought I had. So these are the like 86% chance to win 10 or less in this is Division 1 boxes.
86% to win max half a tier 5 plus, basically.
Right.
But let's just call it the 50% one. So you're winning 1/5 of a tier 5 plus 50% of the time. If that makes sense, right?
Yep.
So like you could end up hitting you'd need to hit that 50% 5 weeks in a row just to get a tier 5 plus.
Yeah.
Right. But like what score is actually getting you that tier 5 box? I mean, maybe it's not astronomical because it is 50% in season. Like I get it. But it's still like a decent score. Like it can't be like terrible, can it? In season, I could probably tell you because
like these are the best boxes you can get. I will say, like, Harry, if you surveyed 1,000 Sorare managers who play in-season competitions, how many would prefer to win 20 super rare essence compared to 200 rare essence?
Probably 100. I honestly maybe one guy misclicks. Like maybe just not paying attention.
I thought you were going to say 100 people, meaning like 10%,
oh, right.
And I was going to absolutely rip you up, and you were
no,
clearly going to say 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think anyone would in their right mind. Even somebody like me who plays, like, it's quite funny. This is obviously a very specific thing, but like I play champ in season rare. I don't play champ super rare at all. So to get obviously if he's under 23, then there's there's definitely something that can be done there. But like if I hit it and I hit and I craft a tier 5 plus champ card and it's not under 23, like it's actually useless to me.
That's exactly what it is. It's actually useless. Like,
and they'd be like, oh, you can play in the specials. It's like, no, I don't want to.
I just started playing champ in season.
Right.
Rare. Winning champ super rare, a champ super rare to me, a tier 5 champ super rare could not. I would rather you just slap me in the face.
But then they'll be like, well, yeah, but you can just save it and win another 20. Like,
yeah.
2,000 to 1. Like all the, well, actually, it's 1,000 to 1 times 1,000 to 1, right?
I was going to say, yeah, it's
yeah.
even worse. Yeah. So these are the 3-star boxes. These are the worst ones. 75% chance of 4 essence or less.
Yeah. Rico Man's right, though. The 5-star box is only the top 10%. Sorry, the 5-star box is only the top 10%.
So the top 10% win 5-star boxes. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. I was going to say, because I'm in like D1, I'm not winning.
So like 40, the next 40%.
Wow.
Well, it's not 40. Let's see. So 30%. The 20 to 30% basically win. Yeah, 2 essence most likely, or 4.
No, I don't think the score to get the 3-star box is like. So I was in D1. I scored 327 points, and I was 2 points off. So you would have had to have scored 329 points to get into the boxes in D1 this past weekend. Like, and I'm not saying those those 3-star boxes are great, but like, there's something. For 330 points led with a, I don't know, 50% captain bonus. And I did that with a DMP
much at all.
and a red card, by the way.
Like that's why people were farming box farming.
Agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But like nobody's playing D1 champ to win in season, to win 3-star boxes. Like that's just like, that's actually a bad week, really, isn't it? Unfortunately, because you're aiming for cash, obviously, and you're not getting it.
Fripp said, when you do win the double 20 super rare essence, and you can truly say your card was 1 in a million.
No, I agree, so Juju. Of course, you need to be in D1 to do that as well.
Yeah, like that's what it is. 60% chance at 2 essence. God.
So 1/10 of a card. It's just like, how much longer can they go on and fractionalize these things, to where it's then like, hang on a minute. Like already now it's a bit like, hang on a minute. 1/10 of a tier 5 plus is tough to get on board with. Never mind when they go in like, 1/50th and like that can't work. Like, I just don't care what anyone says. That ain't gonna work, is it?
And you can't even win 5-star boxes at the top of D2.
No. But you can win $1,300.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, but then it's like, I've seen that argument as well. Do you think people should win both? As in like cash and the box? Because I don't mind giving up the boxes if I'm winning cash. I gotta be honest. Like I know it's nice to have both and we're all greedy and stuff, but like honestly, if that helps anything, I'd love to not donate it, but, not as if I'm like winning cash in that specific comp every week, but like, but it's only 50 boxes. Does that really change much?
That's an interesting.
Does it move the needle? Probably not, right?
Well, it's more, does it move the needle negatively that people are like, I'm not going to play in season anymore because I can only win cash or a box?
I personally don't care. Yeah, Major NFT said, wonder in the chat, lads, let us know. We'll do a little focus group.
Yeah.
Because I'm convinced people don't care that much because the cash is like winning $60. Do I care that I've won 2 essence? I'm sorry, but I agree.
Great question. I don't.
Because then, but does that move? Does that change? Like, where would you put those 50 boxes, basically? Because you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where they go and make a big difference. That's kind of where I'm missing it. But that's my question.
Well, I think it's less that not that the boxes have to go anywhere, but it's just now the essence that you pay out in each box is higher.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Yes. You can just spread out the essence in the same amount of boxes, just more essence. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Rigamon said, with the new boxes, I wouldn't care about the box if I get cash.
Right. Yeah. Maybe the old box. Fair enough. Yeah.
And Josh wants to move them into Classic. I think the days of improving Classic are just...
Yeah, it's dead and buried, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but I'll pat myself on the back here. I won Challenger in season rare Division 4 this past game week. Didn't even need 500 points, Harry. Everybody's like, Challenger scores are so high. Don't even need it.
Unbelievable.
So when I opened my rewards, I obviously opened the ETH that I won.
Right.
And then I opened the boxes. I opened the boxes. I didn't keep, in fact, I sound like such a dick. So I hit the claim all on the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I think I won like 13 boxes and I was like, I don't need to click 13 times. I'll just.
Yeah.
So by the time I went to open the box from that win, I didn't even know what it was.
Like which box it was. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Like it was probably a 4-star because I can't imagine you get a 5-star box.
Might have even been a 3-lead if it was a Division 4, right?
Let me look.
I mean,
D4.
I would be surprised.
Harry, Challenger.
Is it a D2? But is it a Division? Is it a 2-star?
It's a 2-star box.
For winning. Like, how many times better is the $200 compared to that 2-star box? Like,
Harry, I could not win more than 5 essence.
Wow.
You know what? I actually think I got a market credit.
Did you?
That might have been from something else. I don't know. Whatever it is. Like the point that I'm trying to make though is I won the cash, opened the cash, was all happy. By the time I went to open my boxes, I didn't know which one was from challenge. Like it didn't matter.
They don't tell you. Like they do after. Yeah.
I mean, they tell you when you open it, or when you open the wrapper, like when you claim it.
Yeah.
But like once it's claimed, you have no idea. Mm-hmm. Like if I want a 2-star box from Contender, like I don't know which one is which.
They all look the same, right? Yeah. It's not even compared. Like the winning, I know like you came first, like $200 compared to that 2-star box. Even if you get market credits, like the multiple on like how much better the $200 is like a zillion to 1, if that was even a number, right? So it's like, what's the point just at? Like, I don't think you need it. You won $200. Like,
Bob was saying, people no longer look at Sorare like the three of us did when it started. Cards are no longer the thing that drive people to play. We are the ones slow to the adjustment. I'm not saying, like, why do you think we haven't adjusted? Like, we play in-season comps. Like, we know that's the deal now.
Mm-hmm. Or is he just meaning like that people care about? Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, people must care because the Essence thing was a big deal and like Essence was cards.
Right. I still think winning cards is a thing, though. Well, it's obviously a thing,
I agree.
But, you know, like. But you're right. Like, I do set my in-season lineups before my classics. Like, that must mean that I care about. Yeah, you know, like we care about in-season more than classic. But I don't know.
The irony of Bob saying that is that for the last 2 years, the first lineup we set was Threshold,
which was cash.
Right. Like we've been trying to win cash this whole time.
Right. Yeah. It was just how can we win in a different way now? That was the first thing I was thinking of. Like our in-season card teams are just multiple threshold farmers, basically.
Yeah.
That's it.
So here's a question from Arthur. Is there progression within a scarcity within in-season? So I'm glad Arthur brought that up because it reminded me of something I wanted to bring up earlier. Let's say you play Prem.
Mm-hmm.
You love the Prem. You think every other league in the world is just way below it. You have no interest in it until somebody from one of those leagues transfers in. And then you're like, now I know this guy. I don't care what he did before. All you like is the Prem. You buy your 3 in-season Prem teams. You buy, and you're like, well, I want more. You play Classic, or just you play in-season now, and next season you got a Classic, and you got more in-season. Should Sorare push that player to go play Rare? Like, I think this, in the spirit of Sorare, the answer is, well, I guess it's probably go play Champ.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
So you go to Champ. and you max out champ. Is the idea then, and it's probably just different for different people. It's like, all right, you have all your Prem teams and you play Prem in champ. Do you now go to Bundesliga or La Liga because you may have won them in champ? Or do you go buy some challenger cards because like those are the guys who will be in the Prem one day? And maybe that's just the progression that we're right back to just like progressing wide.
What makes them more money is probably my question. Like that player that's played the 3 Prem in season limiteds, do they go up to 3 in season rare Prems? Or do they, like you say, go to champ and then maybe find their way into Bundes and La Liga? There's more teams in obviously those ways in limited, but does that equate to more money, Laird? I wonder if, does 3 in-season Premier League rare lineups cost more than 3 in-season champ, 3 in-season Bundesliga, and 3 in-season La Liga limited lineup? So it's basically a 9 to, it's a 3x as far as lineups go, but is it, price-wise?
Yeah, I guess just like my response is just, what if I just don't care about La Liga?
Yeah. I think for that guy's gallery, and this is obviously hypothetical, you probably do go to rare in a weird way because you can play them down. You can play them down.
Oh.
Like you can have that utility if you need it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
I think Sorare Malta. That's basically what Sorare Malta's doing with the K League, playing rare, playing limited, and then doing it that way. I think that works.
Major MT said the Sora economy will be interesting now as people dump classic for the following in season musical chairs. Essentially, I mean, it'll be much more drastic, but like that happens every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's all. So Josh said, I think progression now is buying in season within a specific scarcity and hoping to make enough money to rebuy a brand new in season gallery next year.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think that's exactly what Peter Stoyanov said he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
SLDLRD37. Do you think that is, we can read that out? Sletter red? No. Anyway, attempted to just save all my boxes, one in the new year to open and spam early release next summer. Anyone else thinking similar? And Scosmo said the rules will have changed before you open them, and either they'll have expired as they're tied to a season, or the crafting numbers are 10x, so you can't craft anything. Major MT said, does Essence expire? Might just start holding it, waiting for next season at some point. Scosmo said, not yet, but they've got 6 months to change that. Bruzel said, surely they're working on how to time limit Essence.
They've time limited market credit, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I just see Enrico Man there saying, I think we'll see an even bigger drop at the top cards as people can only use one classic. So there's like less classic cards being used in season year on year, technically, right? In that, like, in people's galleries, if that makes sense, because they'll accumulate more accumulate cards that have gone from in season to classic, but can only still use 3 in the in season.
So that reminded me from something earlier. I'm in a situation right now where I have a classic super rare Franco Armani. I also have a classic rare, an in-season rare, and an in-season limited. Somebody reached out to me the other day because I have like kind of a current new season River Plate collection. It was mostly just an XP, I needed the collection bonus to make my card stronger. And he was like, I have the 1 of 100 Franco Armani from this season. Do you want it? And enough people know I am an absolute sucker for 1-ofs and jersey mints. Like, I really wanted that card. What he did not want was my card back and a premium. Like, he was like, I'm selling this card. So I had a situation to have like 2 Franco Armani in-season cards. In 3 months, that gives me 3 classic Franco Armani cards. when I bought the Haspelot in-season rare a while ago, you and I were talking about it. Oh, I'm sorry. I bought the classic, and I was like, and again, what we talked about, do I buy the classic super rare or the in-season rare? And I bought the in-season rare because I was like, I'll play it in season. But like, come next year, I already have 2 classic Haspelot cards. And like the number of classic cards, like I'm a proponent. I don't even want to say I'm a proponent. It's something I do that like I'll buy the same cards in classic and in season. But man, I'm going to be hit hard at the end of this season when I have duplicate, triplicate classic cards of these guys. And like, the hell am I going to do with them?
They give you more places to play them, which I mean, not a doubt, but they're going to have to somehow, or you have to sell one of them, right? Yeah. Really.
And Ben said, joined around 2 years ago. Love the game idea. Gallery has consistently been falling. So we're making significant changes to prize pools. Distribution mid-season with zero notice really forces consumers. Sorry, there's like a whole bunch here. People plan and prepare for strategy, spend the initial cost to try to get the ROI alongside the fun, then get screwed halfway through due to no fault of their own. This has happened 3 or 4 times since I joined the platform. It makes you very reluctant to keep believing in not only the people, but in the product, but the people running it, and hesitate to deposit further. What do you think? I think it's exactly why I struggle with people who are planning 6 months ahead of time, or the people in the live chat right now who are like, I might start saving boxes so I can open them all in August. And it's like, oh my, it's October. Like, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're so numb to the changes at this point. I am anyway. And I'm sure a lot of us that have been around that, like, you just expect it at this point, maybe. I'm not saying it's that's not fine. It's not something that we should be okay with necessarily, but like when you expect it, I think you're less not shocked, but you just kind of more prepared maybe for it to happen for you, into your gallery.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Scotsman, literally triplicate's one of my favorite words. I also really like thrice. I don't use thrice enough though.
Yeah, thrice the fun one. Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to sorry, stoic. It just goes back to like they are a unicorn company, and like there's gonna have to be things that get ironed out, and things that go wrong, and things that end up getting rectified in somewhat, and we get screwed in the process, and they might, there's always going to be these changes. Like, is there ever going to be a time where like Sorare is just like working fine, like all the economy behind it,
I was going to bring this up to, like, Andy and I might talk about this tomorrow, but I'll bring it up now because when I was talking to PSU fans, I think it was last week, and he was saying that he is currently finding Sorare to be boring. And I think that the reason he finds it boring is a reason that doesn't apply to most people. Because Sean, a huge part of the game for a lot of people is figuring out what cards to acquire. And that literally does not come into the equation for Sean. Like, he'll look at like 1 or 2 players. They're like, maybe I'll go, who's the best player now? Do I have him? Should I go get him? And he was saying now that all of the changes that they announced are implemented, it's like you don't really have to adjust anymore. And that a huge part of the game over the last few years, and not it hasn't been like constant for the 3 years, but there are like very clear blocks of time in the last 3 years where they have made big changes. And then a big part of the game becomes adjusting to those changes. And so everyone's like, I hope this is it. Like, I hope this is the game. And there's a little bit of at some point, do you just get bored of doing the same thing over and over again? And I'm not encouraging them to make like widespread changes every year. Like, I do not want that. Even though I work for a site that makes those changes a lot easier for people to deal with. But it is kind of like an interesting like view that like they seem to have gotten it right. Essence notwithstanding, maybe they've gotten it right now, but like the fact that a lot of playing this game is kind of adjusting to change, and now maybe we just won't have those changes anymore.
But I think there's enough change in football as there is, as like a sport with injuries, suspensions, managerial changes, formation changes, player informed, players not informed. Like there's enough change within the dynamic of football. We don't need to then, because that used to be the whole gripe, wouldn't it? It'd be like, when the Trent thing. Remember when Trent was like gonna be the matrix breaker because defender matrix was changed, or all matrixes was changed on Sorare, but defender got a big bump on like attempted assist or whatever, possession loss went down, and Trent was the guy for a bit, and it's just like people bought on the basis of that. But I never liked that though, Lil. I never liked the fact that like there was external factors outside of football affecting the card prices, if that makes sense, which was Sorare were controlling. I never really liked that idea personally.
That's reasonable. Hold on, sorry, I had a comment up and then I lost it. Kuche said now you just put your 5 best together and no more research. Man, if that's the case, then I'm playing this wrong because I'm doing a ton of research. Oh, that's what it was. So somebody mentioned that one of the reasons for the worse boxes in regular competitions is because they're making specials and like midweek better. And I wish they didn't do that. Not whoever said it, Sorare. Like I think I get it that they're like stars will be stars and we want everybody to play in the Champions League, and so we're going to make the Champions League cards the best. But man, this feels like a big hit to the regular gameplay if the goal is to like make midweeks better.
Yeah, especially when half the players don't even play on the weekend. Factors is just so hard to like factor in, which not I don't care about, but like something that they're probably not thinking about, I wouldn't say.
Maybe. Kenny said the element of scouting is gone with the elimination of 220, 240, etc. Most of those hole plugger, gap filler players you'd buy for a game week have essentially zero liquidity and value when you go to sell. So like they probably had no value back then also. Like you bought them for 1 week and then they didn't have the value anymore. But like I could not disagree more that scouting is gone. I do way too much of it to like
scouting's gone for sure.
Different.
It's gone for certain players because they've just got too many cards, like it's a luxury for scouting to be gone in a weird way, for sure. Like Sean doesn't need to scout because he has every player, like.
But I don't think anyone is in this situation that Sean is in. Like maybe there are a couple of players, but like most of us are still much more likely to scout somebody who is not that good right now and will be better soon.
Yeah, it's actually fun. Like Kennedy's one of my members. I'm good friends with him. He's got like the best rare gallery you could ever have, basically. And he's like creeping into in season, but like in Bundesliga and whatever and Prem, but like there's no need for him to go out and buy like a this card might become good one day type of player. Like I do kind of get what he's saying because like with the in season stuff, you have to have the good cards here and now to win the cash here and now because there's a finite amount of games that these in season cards are in season for. So in that side of things, I do like scouting's gone in certain elements of the game. I think not so like for under 23, it's always going to be there because it's all classic. It doesn't matter the cards in season or not. Whereas like with Kennedy's gallery, like I know from seeing it a lot, like there's no need to scout, but like you just know all the players that are on your radar. But that's his problem because he plays certain competitions. There's only so many Premier League players, there's only so many Bundesliga players, and there's only so many good players in those categories. And then there's only so many that he already owns. So there's only so many that he doesn't own. But that's on him in a way, because like if he doesn't want to play contender, then there's no need to scout contender, you know?
Please don't play contender. I think, but like that's Kennedy not needing to scout now is no different than if he had all of those cards 2 years ago. Like once you have all the best cards, that the scout the who is coming next scouting is gone. But like the gameplay isn't the reason for that.
Fair.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Sean doesn't scout because he has all the cards he needs.
All the cards.
Like Kennedy has all the cards he needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why doesn't Kennedy buy super rares?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, he won't touch super rares. Like actually won't touch them. That's a problem.
What if he won 20 super rare essence?
Things might change.
Probably not. Yeah.
Thoughts on the Red Bulls beating Columbus? I watched that game last night.
Is Rossi back for the next?
I'm not sure. But yeah, they had like 100% possession. They just didn't really score any goals.
Sounds like River Plate.
Yeah. Against the Brazilians.
I'm trying to look up. At one point, I think at halftime, they had like 81% possession.
Late November for Rossi.
That's a long time. This was River Plate. 67% possession, 35 shots.
Holy
6 on goal.
moly.
0-0.
Okay, Kennedy's got a response.
Look at these corners. 20-1.
That's insane. 20 corners.
20. That's what happens. Well, I guess a bunch of them were blocked. Anyway, Kenny said, I shouldn't have said scouting is dead. I just think it's harder to chop and change weekly with a slow secondary market and a different set of competitions compared to a few years ago. It's just different, right? Different scouting.
Scosmo was on over 19.5 last night, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean the scouting's different. We literally didn't we just do a show about scouting? Did we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
how
last
we scout?
week before.
Yeah. Go check that out. Whoever hasn't seen that show. Yeah, it's like I think the scouting is dead argument doesn't have many legs to it. I don't like it.
Holds no water.
There you go. It's just different scouting. That's all.
Yeah.
But also I think everybody who ends up who has a lot of the significant cards in the game, like, yeah, the scouting is going to be different. You're not looking for the next set piece taker for Leuven.
Right. But in under 23 you are, and I kind of like
maybe
that. It's always alive, you know, like there's always a new under 23 guy that pops up on. Yeah. Yeah, did you cup it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I literally cup it. This is just water. Oh, straw boy, huh?
Yeah, I'm a straw boy these days.
Okay. Mben, I think is thinking just the opposite of you, Harry. Why would it kill U23?
I think it would make it thrive, wouldn't it?
I surely in season would make U23 just explode up.
I mean, you throw cash at anything, surely it explodes.
That's a good point. DN says it's coming.
Okay. I'm gonna have a word with
is Nicola, and that's the inside word. Dr. Nicola,
Detective
Nicola is
Nicola.
his last name. I don't know. Major NFT said, I find most people only want cash and not open to trades like they were.
Oh,
I'm always open to trades.
Changed. Yeah, you love a trade, but I in general, I'm like less. I never think about trades anymore. I just think about buying cards or selling cards. I don't think about trading with people genuinely. Not because I don't want to do it. I just kind of assume other people don't want to do it. Maybe.
I think bots have ruined that's not fair. I think bots have given people different expectations when it comes to trading. And so I think that actually has more of a negative impact on trading than anything else.
Agree. Massively agree.
Victor said U20 in season U23 would kill classic U23s because it doesn't matter. I mean, it's the same as it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a new comp. I don't know. I barely play U23, so. But more places to win cash seems fine.
Yeah, I can't see how it hurts it, to be honest.
Yeah. Has anyone met Basilbot before? Stish did, didn't he?
Yeah, Stish has.
Where did that go? What did we say this was? Mediator?
Yeah.
Anyway, because of the box changes, should I remake my 6 teams of average players into 2 to 3 teams with better ones?
100%.
The real answer, Harry? 6 better teams.
All that, yeah, all that.
But yes, yeah. And Ben said the prize pools would be worse in Classic than if they had in-season Super Rare, in-season U23.
How? It'd just be cash.
It's just cash. Well, the boxes maybe. I don't think it would make it. It's the same. It's the same argument that we had when they introduced in-season. They were like, Classic is dead. And it's like Classic is exactly the same. They just added in-season.
Yeah, just completely add a new arm to it.
Yeah, I don't know. On a separate note, did we see that Charleroi is on a 3rd keeper in 3 games?
Wow.
That seems bad.
They must have lost one in the cup or something maybe today because they lost the one on the weekend. The main guy, Kone. Guess how many error-led to goals the final keeper has right now, Led?
How many? 2?
Yes. And guess how many decisives Pasveer has right now?
Who's in goal for Feyenoord?
Wellenreuther.
Oh, it is Wellenreuther. Yeah.
How many DAs has Pasveer got?
DAs. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
2. 1 positive, 1 negative.
Nope. 2 positive. He has an assist somehow. And a clean sheet. Yeah.
The Remco Pasveer resurrection is really the most underreported Sorare story of this whole season.
I really think it is. It is for sure. 100%.
Yeah. Sorare Josh said, I think U23 is kind of out of place with the rest of the game and wouldn't be surprised to see it going soonish. Josh, I'm convinced that they were going to get rid of it.
Probably.
And every single person, like Sorare manager that they spoke to about play changes was like, why would you ever get rid of it?
Yep, 100%.
So I don't think
if it goes, I go. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the give and take.
Mr. Nishikawa himself says he's gone if U23
gone.
How do you do a road to glory for U23 without U23?
Exactly. They're losing out on a big road to glory there that just dies,
Yeah. Dream Oblivion said thinks they get rid of 1 classic and in-season teams. I also think that's something they want to do, but they realize like how bad that is for classic cards.
Yeah, that just annihilates classic, doesn't it?
Right. Right.
Like actually.
And like business-wise, that's probably fine. Mm-hmm. Like revenue-wise, because you're like, no, everybody has to just buy new ones, but then everybody leaves. And you don't make any money if you have no users. Ryan said, I don't believe Harry leaves. This is Hotel Sorare. You can check out, but you can never leave. Kenny said the RTG can continue, just no reward, and calculate the scores yourself by hand.
I've got my pen.
There it is.
I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
My Sharpie. That isn't actually a real Sharpie. It's a fake one.
This is a Sorare pen.
Oh.
It doesn't say Sorare on it, but it came with my Sorare notebook. Right here, I think.
You just all Sorare out. T-shirt, everything.
So I was not going to bring this up ever, but I'll bring it up now. I don't think it predates this, but I might be willing to look back. Since you started coming on every Tuesday, I've worn this shirt.
No way. Every Tuesday you've worn it.
Every single time we have streamed together since you started coming on. And so like right when the game week previews ended.
Okay.
And you just started becoming my Tuesday guy.
Because we
I
used
have worn
to
this
wear
shirt.
the similar things, didn't we? We used to wear like a jumper, and I'd have the same color jumper on, and so that
You can
was
tell the seasons change when we start going long sleeves.
yeah.
But it's warm today here where I am. But literally this shirt, every single video with you and me, I've worn it.
So is that an OCD thing for you, or do you just like wearing that? Like it's just a thing?
I think after like 2 or 3 weeks, I like realized it. And not to give too much away, it's also the shirt I'm wearing in the thumbnail picture that I use for our streams.
Got you.
So
okay,
like I'm wearing, so you see the thumbnail and I'm actually wearing this shirt.
Yeah,
but
you're
at
not
some
a
point I was
fraud.
just like, oh, let me see if I can just keep doing it. And like every Tuesday, I'm like, oh, it's Tuesday.
That's funny. I honestly never noticed that.
I don't think anybody's ever noticed it. It
Hmm.
reminded me of there was like a local news anchor. It was 2 anchors, man and a woman, and the woman like wore the same dress like twice in the same week, and everyone made a big deal about it. And he was like, I've worn this suit, this shirt, and this tie every day for 3 years, and nobody said anything.
Wow, that's funny, isn't it? How?
Do you ever do laundry Monday night in full panic that your Sorare shirt isn't clean? So I only wear it on Tuesday.
You're muted.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh no, wait.
Yeah.
Headphones.
It's
weird.
So I only wear it on Tuesday. So by the time I get to next Tuesday, like it's surely clean. Rikamon said I'm wearing Sorare socks. Kennedy, nice. I won this notebook from Sorare NBA because you can see it's the Sorare NBA logo. 2 seasons ago, I think. So yeah. Harry pranking Lair never gets old. Have you done that to me before?
What, the mute thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard my AirPods disconnected, but I only knew that after. Yeah, after you came back.
Either way. I think that's it. That's it.
Last question.
Oh,
where does the next big injection of liquidity come from? Is it Pranksy's 10 ETH from yesterday? Does that get reinvested, Led? At this point?
The only reason why I say I don't think so is because I say that and he spent $2,600 on a unique today.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Yes, it does.
So he does. Okay. Yeah.
Some of it, at least. I was going to say because Franksy buys so many uniques that, like, once you have them, like you don't need to keep buying. Wow, he's selling the Mbappe.
12K feels like a lot.
What did I sent you a card the other day that Pavel was selling for 12K. What was it?
Yeah, who was it? It was a unique.
It was a unique.
It's not that Due guy you bought, is it?
No.
Who is it? If someone you had is like a classic rare, I'm sure. No, super. You bought a super, didn't you? Oh man, I honestly don't know. It was someone absurd, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Like
I can't think who you bought.
I asked you, I remember this. I asked you how much you thought it was on the market for, and your absurd guess was $2,000, and then I sent you when it was 12,000. Let's see. Scarcity unique on sale. He probably has so many listed that.
So many.
I don't even. Who was it?
Well, we'll know by the price, kind of, right? Unless he's taking it down, you know.
Yeah, he could have. Unless maybe somebody bought it.
Wow, for 12K?
12 grand. Who knows? Oh, it was Mbabu.
Yeah, it was.
He's raised the price.
Wow.
13,000.
Inflation. Wow. Like, where's he getting that price from? Like, surely you'd prefer a unique HG.
10 grand?
How is 10 grand? He's just got them at absurd prices. Like, what is even the point?
That's what like, what's the point? Kyle Walker-Peters. I think I'm fairly certain Scosmo owned this card at one point. There he is.
Wow.
Knew it. Anyway. Ricamon said someone traded 10 super rare Vancouver cards for 150 pounds.
Was gold one of them?
Kenny said he initially had it for 25K targeting me. It is a mental gallery. And you guys want a burn mechanism. My God. Anyway, that's all we got today. Harry's now reached the 5-hour mark of live streaming for today, which is almost as many steps as he's taken today. So he's got to go. Thank you to everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Oh, he's up to 167. You haven't moved.
Yeah, my feet are moving.
You're sitting there like this, trying to get some more steps in. I'm on to you. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming. I'll be back tomorrow for Sorare Andrews. And like Harry, don't forget to get those steps in.